And then for the backend, like you said, I'm going to use nodemon index.js. And then we can actually admit the index.js because it does that by default. So now let's take a look at our progress last time on Resume Meet. Hopefully soon we can actually get submissions going so we can work on your resumes, right? But anyway, let's open up the console. No errors. That's good. We left over a console.log here, which we'll clean up. But anyway, let's see if we can actually still register, right? So we're going to do Renata 123. Click register. And we got success false, no route found. So right away, oh, I see another error here too. I see this word error, whatever. I misspelled error, right? Maybe let's fix that first. How can I fix this error right here? How can I fix that error? Let's do that first. A little bug. Yeah. How can I do that? Ryan, what do you think?
Control F and search for arrow or however you spelled it.
Yeah. That's a good suggestion. Arrow. So it's right here. So how should I change this?
Yeah, add the R.
Yeah, add an R and delete an R, I
Yeah.
think. Okay, I'm going to save this. It's going to refresh my server. And then I'll just try to do this again. So let's refresh. Go to register. Ryan, 123, register. And I'm not even convinced this error is coming from trying to register. I think it's actually coming from trying to get our token. But anyway, we fixed this little error. But also I want to see if there's an error in registering. Nothing is happening right now. So I'm going to find in the front end where this is trying to register. And I'm going to console.log info to see what that looks like. Because something's going off wrong. So I'll click register again. And we're getting username already exists. Please log in. But why isn't, remember we did the error handling where it should set it and display on the screen for the user? That was like a nice UI we did in the long ago of last week, right? We had the error state right here, but it's not working because I have a bug in my code. Does anyone spot what my bug is? Why isn't the error appearing down here like it's supposed to notify the user? It has to do with the naming of this object and the properties. So why isn't line 27 doing what it should be doing? And compare that with the console.
The info.message.
Yeah, you see that? I'm sending from the server a property called message, but I'm setting the error as info.error. So that's my mistake, right? So to fix that, we go to the back end, and where can we actually fix that? Oh, yeah. Where can we fix that? How should I change it?
Line 31.
Yeah, very nice. So change message to what?
To error.
Yeah. So now the React front end, when I click register, will display this message here, which is what we want. So username already exists. Please log in. So we'll try Ryan 2, right? And when I click register, oh, already exists. Whoops.
There are like 10 Ryans.
We'll do
unfortunately.
Ryan 23. I don't think we got that far. Okay, so now we got another error from app.jsx line 29. So let's take a look at that. Why is that an error? So here I'm console.logging info, and this is an error. So I'm sending a request to users/token, and I'm getting an error. And the error is no route found. So how can we work on that? How can I respond to a request at users/token? And right now, let's just send a message. We'll send a user. Because remember, what is users token or user/token? What does that even want? Let's check the docs, right? So here we have a get request to users token. The user is sending their token, and they want. Oh, this is an error. This isn't right. They want the user information, right? Yeah. So we can edit this. So what they'll send back is not the token. It's the user object with like the ID, username. Whoops. And I think that's it, actually. So this is the request we want, and this is the response we want. But for right now, let's just respond to a get request to users token saying we'll send user info if token is valid. So how can I get started on that objective? Hara, any ideas?
Not completely sure, but I'm guessing like app dot. You said a get request, right?
Yeah. What's the path going to be?
Slash users slash token.
Uh-huh. And the second argument is what data type?
Callback.
Callback function, yep. And for
Function,
free, we
yeah.
get the request and response objects. And here I said, for right now, I just will say success, true. Success, true. That's fine. How can I test this route? Hara, what do you think? How can I test this route I just made?
Can you use Thunder Client?
Yeah. So I can use Thunder Client. And, well, I did the work for us, right? In preparation for lecture, I'm sure. So I send this request, and we get success true. But I want to send the token. So how from Thunder Client can I send the token? And if I don't have a token, how can I get a token in Thunder Client? And this body is a little bit of a hint.
Is it a post request?
Yeah, so we do a post request to what path to get a token in the first place?
Slash users.
Slash.
Oh, register.
Yeah, to get a token. So here I probably have Roman 3 already. Yeah. So we'll do Roman 4. And now here I get a token. And in Thunder Client, how can I store my token to send on my next request. Which of these tabs?
Header.
Which one?
Header.
Headers you could do, but there's an easier way. Auth. It'll do it for you automatically. So we can paste it in right here, and it will do the proper like bearer label and stuff in the headers. So now I can do this GET request to user/token, and it says success true, but what do I actually want? I actually want, whoops. I actually want this, the user information. So, first off, how can I see the token in my console here that the user sent? So I want to console.log the token right here, but how can I see that token in the backend, in the server that the client is sending me?
Would you need to destructure the response from the body?
Close. It's not in the body. Where did we say it is stored?
header.
The headers. So here we're going to use rec.headers.authorization. And we'll console.log that and see what that looks like. And that's, well, that's a string that we want with bearer and the token. But I don't care about bearer and the space. So how can I just get the token? How can I just get that token using JavaScript? I have a big string and I want to break it apart.
Using split.
Yeah, so
Split.
what do we split on? What's the argument to split?
Split. Space.
Yeah. And now I send this request again, and I have an array with with two strings. The second string is the thing I care about. So how can I just grab that second string? And this is all
Index
just
1.
JavaScript manipulation. What, Daniel?
Index 1.
Perfect. Yeah. Now I send the request again, and I just have my string, which is what I want. So I'm going to save this into a variable and just call it like token. But now the idea is, what do I have to do to that token? How do I verify and decode this token? Because a random user on the internet just sent us a token. We have to know if it's legit, and we have to decode it. Since it's a JWT, how could we actually decode it? Just for fun. We're not going to really do this, but does anyone remember how we can just decode it? And anyone can do this. You don't need the password or signature. Does anyone remember? So JSON web token, remember the main site? Right here, we can just paste in our token. Let's see if it works. And now we have the user's ID. Thank God we didn't store any passwords, right? Nothing sensitive. But we don't know if it's right now it's invalid because we don't have the secret. So we have to decode the token and we have to verify that it's legit. What package are we going to use to do both those things?
Don't you import JWT.io or something?
Yeah. Exactly. So we already did import it. So JWT dot, let's check out what methods they have.
Decode. Probably.
Yeah, decode. One looks better than decode, actually.
Verify.
Yeah. So let's use verify. And what arguments does it need? It's saying it needs the token, and then it needs the secret. What was that secret again? Where did we store that, and what was it?
In file env.
Yeah, it's stored in our .env file. We just smashed the keyboard. And the point of it was what? The point of it was that we sign our token with it, and when it comes back to us, we know that we're the ones who signed it and it's legit. No one else can have this password, or then they could sign tokens on our behalf. So now or what is this going to return to us? I think this is going to return to us the user ID. So let's take a look at that. Let's console.log that. So send the token, and it's not actually the user ID, but I can make it the user ID by doing what to the variable. So it gives us back an object, and one of the properties is user ID. But all I care about is that property. Does anyone actually know what IAT means? Or have a guess? We didn't create that. They did that for us.
Initiated that.
Yeah. But that's a weird date, right? 16950599464. This is total trivia, but doesn't anyone know what that number stands for?
Is that Unix time?
Yeah. Did you remember was that in the video, or from somewhere else?
I've somewhere earlier in the course, but
Yeah. No, number of seconds since January 1st, 1970. So there we go. Unix time. Anyway, how can I destructure this one? Because all I care about is the user ID. Monica, how can I destructure the user ID?
Will you just put it in curly braces?
Yep. So now when I console.log user ID, I see the user's ID. And now what should I do with this user ID? How do I get the actual user information? Where's the user information stored? Where is user info stored, and how do I ask for it?
That'd be like a Prisma request.
Yeah. Prisma dot, what do you think?
Find unique.
First, we have to choose which model.
User.
And you said find unique. I like it. And what is the arguments we need?
Would it just be
ID?
user ID?
No. Take a look at their example if you forget. You see it?
Where?
Yeah. So we need the where. And then what do I put in there, Daniel?
I think we could just put user ID. If that's what we named it in the database.
But it's not what we named it in the database. In the database, what did we name our
ID.
user schema? Sorry, it's right here.
So it would be just ID equals user ID.
Yeah, exactly. And this will return to us what? Victor?
Is it a string?
It'll be an object, actually. But what information do you think it'll have if we're asking the database to find a unique user?
I'll bring back the user that you requested.
Yeah, so we'll just call this user for now. And it's a promise, so we'll resolve it. And then I'll console.log user to see what that looks like. And I'm getting an error here because it needs to be an async function. So I send this request again. And it took a while. Did you see that? I wonder what's going on there. But we got the user back. That's great. So we can send this in the response. And I can clean up this console. So now after all that work, Roman sent his token from the front end and he got back that he's a valid user and his username. But he got back too much information. What don't we want to send to the user, Kimberly?
The password.
Yeah, so how can I delete that before sending it in this response?
Do you just take it off on
The server.
Oh.
Because if it hits the client, that's too late. I mean, the server is protected. The client is the Wild West.
I don't remember.
Okay. Roman, how can I delete that password from the user object before sending it?
I think you can do delete user dot password.
Yep. Yeah, so we send this again. It looks way better. This is per the docs, right? This is exactly what we need to get back. And from that work, our front end might now be fixed. We might not be getting that error anymore. Because remember, our front end was sending this request to fetch a user. And if it was successful, it was trying to set the user. So automatically, we'll see how it goes, but automatically, Roman might be signed in now. If I can find where I was running anything. Here we go. So refresh the page and Roman should, or I guess we had Ryan, right? So Ryan is automatically signed in because he was the one whose token was stored. But let's log him out though. And let's register Victor123. We click register. We get success true. I want to delete this console log because we don't need it anymore. So I'll delete that. And then the coolest thing is when I click refresh, now this code is going to run and Victor will still be logged in because of the work we just did on the back end, making sure this back end request we properly handled. So all the work I did on day one, like creating our back end, we've almost replicated. I think we might have done, oh no, there's one more thing to do. But we did a lot of the work. We almost have a completely working back end on our own. Let me pause here. There's a lot of jumping back and forth. What questions are there?
So with this fetch user function, you're checking if a user is already kind of existing.
Yeah,
then
so they don't have to re-log in. So this is the situation they click refresh or they come back to Amazon after a week and they don't want to re-log in.
But this all fires when you hit that register, right? Like when you first register.
No, this fetch user we're looking at fires when you first start the application. And it checks the local storage for a token. Register is different. Register is this. So different path, doing different things. This is getting a token. The other one was getting a user. They're both important though.
But when on the front end, when you registered Victor just now, that was registering him or logging him in?
Actually, both because of this. Do you know why it did both? Because of that? The array dependency?
Because it's checking your token to see if it changes.
Yeah, because we changed the token when Victor registered, and then that caused this to fire, which got his user information based on the token. This is going to be our last really tricky concept. You'll have all this code though, and I really recommend you really absorb yourself in it and try to understand the flow, because it's going to be in every project you do, unless you use a library to do authentication. But I honestly think the libraries are harder to understand than just doing it yourself and understanding it. Other questions on this? Okay, so now I want to be able to, so register is looking pretty good, but I want to be able to log in. And right now I just have the word login. But register and login are going to be so similar that I'm going to copy all this and ask you guys what needs to change. So line by line, what's the first thing we see that probably needs to change? Zach or Victor?
Instead of function, register should be login.
Yep. Do any of these probably need to change?
No, async function handle login.
Yep. What needs to change on this line?
Register to login.
Does any of this have to change?
Don't think so. I think
Yeah,
it's
logging in
fine.
still needs a username and password. There still could possibly be errors. And then the word login. So I think that's all that needs to change.
And line 35, yeah.
Handle login. Okay, so there's no errors, but if we try to do Victor123, who I think we have, it says no route found. So let's switch to our back end. And I'm going to copy this user's register because it's going to be very similar. And now we're going to work on making this our login. So what has to change here, Zach?
Change the string to login.
Yeah. Do any of these have to change, do you think?
I don't think so.
I'm just going to change the name. Well, I guess that's still fine. If there's no user, what do we want to say? If somebody's trying to log in and there's no user, what should we say?
That user does not exist.
Yes, we should. Does anyone know a problem why? So most applications won't actually tell you this. Does anyone know why? Have an idea?
Is it because like if somebody's trying to brute force something,
Yeah.
it gives them indication?
So here, better to say user and or password is invalid. I don't know how much
Yeah.
this actually
When you log
matters,
in,
but
it may
most
always
sites you
say
see will do that. I'm going to change the name of this to be user as well. And then we don't need to create a user and we don't need to hash the password. We are going to need to create a token though. But before we create a token, what do we have to check? What do we have to verify? They're trying to log in with a username and password. There is a user in our database, but what do we have to make sure of?
Password matches.
That the password matches. So how can we verify that their password they're giving us now matches the password in our database? Daniel?
I'm not sure.
Open to the class.
Don't you get back the password when you use find unique? So
Yes.
you should check that against the body password.
Okay, let's do
that
that.
I
So let's
sent.
console.log user and let's console.log password. And I think you'll see possibly the problem. Token user. So I'm going to try to log in Victor. And here's the user password. And here's their password they're sending us now. So what's the problem there, Ryan?
Oh, I see. You've salted the password on the database.
I've salted, but better, more correct would be to
hashed
say
it.
I've hashed it.
Yeah. And you need to hash this one as well to see if they match.
Yep. But I don't need to do it. I need to use what library that will do all that for me.
Bcrypt.
Yeah. So Bcrypt dot. Let's look at our options. Does anything sound good to you?
Compare looks good.
Yeah. And what do we need to give compare? So it's saying we need data, which is string or buffer. So that sounds like the plain text password. So that where's that stored, Ryan?
And you've destructured it. It's just password.
Okay. And then the second one, it says encrypted, which is incorrect. But we'll let them slide since they created the library. It's not encrypted, it's hashed, but that's fine. And where do we access that? Where do we access our hashed password?
User.password.
There we go, yeah. And now I want to console.log this because I don't remember what Bcrypt gives me. And I tried to, I successfully logged in, but that was a lie because we didn't compare the password. So I tried to log in Victor again. And I get a promise pending. So what can I do here to resolve this promise?
Oh, wait.
Yeah. And I try to log in again. And I just got the Boolean true. So a good name for this might be is password valid. And if not is password valid, what do I want to do? Rodrigo, what should I tell the user if their password is invalid? Or what should I do here?
We need to send a message that the password is not valid. So
yes.
Success. Oh yeah, the return.
Yeah, and I'll keep it vague. So now I try to log in Victor, and I do the password 1234, and we got back user enter password is invalid, and I do 123, and we're good. We're logged in. But now I always tell you guys, you need to try to break it, right? So let's recreate this login attempt in Thunder Client. So let's go to users login and do a post request and try to do Roman 4, see if he exists. And we got success true. How can I now try to break this? What are the different ways I can try to break the code we just wrote? Alex, any ideas? How can I break stuff?
You can change the password.
Yeah, the password can be invalid. We're good there. Okay. Our code checks the box there. How else can we break this request, Ronald? Make a bad request.
Basically, if we don't send the right info, whatever,
Yep. So what do I do?
Wrong. I guess you could just send like Roman, like username is empty string or something like that.
Yeah, let's try that. Username empty string. User and enter password is invalid. We're still good. We didn't break our server.
Okay. What about passing in another property? I guess you can't really do that, right?
Sure, we can do it. Test like this.
Yeah.
I don't think it cares. Yeah.
Okay.
But that was a good guess. What do you think, Jazz? How can we break our server?
What if we don't pass a password at all? Like the
Yeah,
password?
that's a good guess. But still, we're still good. Yeah.
Remove the entire body.
Yeah, let's try that. Ooh, we broke it. So, God, I don't even know what this error is. But anyway, to prevent this error, what should we do to this whole code?
Try catch.
Yeah, we should wrap it all in a try catch, which unfortunately is kind of what you do for your backend routes, just in case something goes wrong that you can't predict. And then here, what do we want to return? Instead of this built-in error string, what do we want to return if it caught an error? Ketzerin, what do you think?
I think error.
Yeah, error.message. So when an error is produced, it has a message property. So now we try to send this, and it's still pretty ugly, but our server didn't break at least. And look, it's saying it needs username, basically. So we could clean this up. Do you guys know how we could clean this up? Make a better error response? Basically, Prisma's throwing an error that it doesn't have a username. But before we even send that request, what can we do?
Like if not body, kind of.
No, not body. If not
Like if no
username,
username
or
and
not password. And what's a good message in this case?
Please provide.
Yeah, you must provide a username and password when logging in. And so that's way nicer error message. I think that's it. I think we're good. There might be other ways to break it, but we do have the try catch. So let me pause there. Any questions on, we made a login backend route. We also made one for the front end, but the back end was more significant. Questions there? We're grabbing the username and password. We're seeing if a user exists. We're comparing the password. And we're giving them a token. And that might complete all authentication for us. So let's test this out, right? We're trying to log in with Victor123. We logged in. We can log out. We can log in with Ryan123. Oh, maybe Ryan 2. No, 23. Okay, we got Ryan 23. We can click refresh and still be logged in. So I think authentication is done. What I didn't do, though, is try to break this route. So maybe we should do that to be safe. So how can I try to break this route? Users register. Renata?
So I guess go to the, oh, to the body.
Where is my body tab? Oh, Jason. Yeah.
Is it there?
Okay,
So I was
right
thinking.
here. What's bad? Some
So
bad
then
requests.
Pardon?
Oh, some bad requests. We can possibly send it.
Well, it needs the username and password, so maybe try with one of those.
Or nothing, right?
Or
We
nothing.
could try.
Leave it blank.
Yeah, so we got an error here. So I don't even know what that error is, but to catch it, what can we do?
Try catch.
Yeah. And then maybe we'll clean it up once we have the try catch. And then what's a good response? Renata?
So success and false.
And error, what's the value for error?
Error dot message.
Yeah. Okay. Try again with no body. And we got a Prisma error that's saying it needs aware of an ID and username. So that's fine. Your front end would be smart enough developer would be smart enough to know what's going on there. So we can be lazy and leave it like that. That's fine. But is there any other ways you can think to try to break registering? Well, we already did a little bit. We checked if a user already exists. So we might actually be good here. You guys be more responsible though. You do nicer messages than this. Check if there's actually a username and give a response saying you must provide one if they don't. But we'll call it there for that. Okay. Any questions on authentication? We did front end and we did back end. Yeah, both. All right. Let's get you into your breakout rooms.